All right. Well, so we are, you want to start off with our intros and
Yeah.
yeah, all right. Well, it is such an honor to be here talking with you tonight. And I'm excited that you had an opportunity to visit Kansas City. I hope you got you plenty of barbecue on your trip here.
Man, I did. I definitely did. I got barbecued out
Okay.
and I love
Well,
it.
well, that's awesome. So,
Yeah.
we are here with Mike Johns, and go ahead and tell us about you and kind of give me your brief bio.
Right. Well, first up, Kansas City, I want to say you're talking to a futurist. So it's futurist Mike Johns. And what is a futurist? My job is really focused around studying emerging technology and its impact on culture and humanity overall. What does that look like? Well, the first example is AI and what that's currently doing in America, across the globe, and then its impact on the culture, the smartphone, autonomous vehicles, social media, robots. The robots are coming. In fact, they are here right now. So there has to be someone that lets people know what's coming, how do we navigate, how do we dominate, how do we thrive. That's my job.
Wonderful. That's awesome. So, can you talk a little bit about artificial intelligence and the impact on jobs and kind of whether or not like what can we expect with AI? I know there's a lot of concern about AI taking jobs. What's
Yes.
your perspective?
The slogan was out before Tony Robbins jumped on the bandwagon, and that is AI won't take your job. It's the person that knows AI that will take your job. My version is, we have to go from ordinary to extraordinary, and that's tomorrow's workforce. Extraordinary, not ordinary. So the emphasis on AI literacy is at the highest level. And I'm gonna start it off by saying, especially for the culture, I treat AI like the pandemic. Coming from LA, it was over there. When I first heard of COVID, that was some old folks up top in New York City. That part. We didn't even know if black folks could get COVID, if you really remember the background to it.
Right.
Then all of a sudden, it moved from over there to near. Near changed to, oh snap, it's here,
Hmm.
right? Think about that with the pandemic. It was over there. You didn't have it in Kansas City, didn't have it in LA, but it was over there. I remember it being somewhere up in New York. And then the ideology was they all lived together. It's cramped living. I could see how the virus, the old buildings, we started putting a formula together, but it was over there.
Right.
Then there moved to near, near moves to here. I want you to hear me because that's the same way you're going to look at AI. Yeah, the control towers, be it the West Coast, be it the East Coast. But when I was in Kansas City, I saw Ford already laid off people. And that was in the old paradigm because where you sit is with the Midwest. So the Midwest is under a gentrification 2 3.0, the industrial belt. Detroit, Chicago is the home of the airport, the big airport. Bring everybody in, the industrial will build, we'll get our agricultural game on. You know what? If your job is a routine, it could be automated. If it could be automated, robots are going to do it.
Mm. Okay. Well, I mean, definitely in here in Kansas City, as Mayor Pro Tem of Kansas City, we see quite a bit. We have had a significant number of individuals be laid off. We have a large number of federal workers, about 30,000 in our community. So definitely concerned about that.
Yeah,
One of the things that I recognize that, we do have an opportunity if we can jump on the bandwagon quickly enough because of where we're located here in the heart of the country, with our new airport, with the connection of our rail system from Canada to Mexico, that we do have opportunities here, but we've got to make sure that we are bringing our workforce where they need to be.
absolutely.
So really excited about that. So can you talk about who do you think will be most affected, and how long will this AI revolution be in effect?
Um, I'll start off with the next 10 years is more important than the last 100 as we move towards the age of singularity. And that's a whole subject in itself. But who's going to be most impacted? Those least prepared. Those least prepared. And sadly, the real reality for the culture is going to be we had just witnessed 400 plus thousand Black women laid off, let go of, right?
Right, right.
That's because majority of those jobs actually fell in a routine called monkey business. Did he say monkey business?
He's that
Yes,
right.
he
Did he say
did.
monkey business?
Monkey
Yeah.
business. If your job is a routine, then a monkey can do it. After
Okay.
that, then it could be a robot. The robot could probably do it a little bit better, more efficient, and can do it forever, right? So in the jobs, those could have been nursing positions, hospitals, those could be jobs, teachers, anything that's a routine. We got to look at where we are. The future of work is going to be those who can create. Those who are most impacted are those who have routine jobs. That could be the mailman. That could be the working on the assembly line. That could be customer service. So what am I really saying? Black folks,
Right.
Mexicans, because you remember your grandparents moved from someplace. They moved from the South to get a job at the shipping yards in Oakland, California. Uh-oh, that's a routine.
Okay.
The
So
Mexicans are working their agricultural lands in Fresno, California, and even right there in central Kansas City. Uh-oh, that's a routine.
yeah, so really you're talking about our blue collar folks primarily.
Blue
Well,
and white collar,
oh,
nobody's
okay.
exempt as long as you can be an attorney. How about this? Let me just ruffle your feathers. You ready for this?
Okay.
There will be, you heard it from a futurist, there will be a day sooner than soon in our lifetime in which your position is already automated.
Okay. I
If
tell
your
you
job
what.
is a routine,
Yeah.
then it could be. So I want this is where science fiction becomes science facts because we already see the police department and probably 3 in 7 will be replaced. And then that
Mm,
number will graduate to you will just take care of the robots that'll do the patrolling.
wow.
Government will be actually the highest level, the optimal level of government will be AI doing it.
I tell you what, you're right, it's here. So my son, I wish he had an opportunity to meet you when you were in town, but my son is creating an AI generated app that looks at how to streamline and modernize the city municipalities or government.
Come
And
on.
yeah, yeah, it's matter of fact,
Let's give him a round of applause real quick.
yeah,
Come
matter of fact,
on.
there was an
He's
article
gotta
out
meet me. I
there
gotta meet
today that
him.
just was released today about his new platform and all the stuff that he's doing. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
We
So
need
you're
that.
right. It is here.
Hmm.
Um, so what do you think? Should governments how should governments how should they deal with AI? How, especially as an elected official here, what do you think how do you think AI will impact the government more so, and how should we make adjustments to accommodate?
So you got two things. And for where you sit and working with various people across the land who are making their political careers, solidifying that further, you want to be proactive as to if any position I take on in looking at this landscape of autonomous AI, robotics, for everything that's taken away, what's replaced. If it's an autonomous vehicle that's coming into the market, well, what new jobs are going to be created? Because we know what jobs are going to be taken away and we know who's going to be impacted.
Hmm.
So, as an elected official, you always want to have the balance of the companies, big tech will sell you on efficiency, may even sell you on safety, all the key words, but then you have to lift that up. And I used Mayor Adams, who's a big homie of mine, where, hey, autonomous this, robotics this. He's being a trailblazer at these things, but also putting in place programs for education for the citizens that he serves. And that's what I challenge every mayor, every elected official, such as yourself, to say, as much as we are embracing the new technologies, then under my leadership, how do I empower my people? You have the mayor of DC, Mayor London. former mayor of London for San Francisco, who had blueprints that you can now take advantage of to say, we have these websites, we have these programs for you to get involved, for you to be involved in town hall meetings, because no one person has the answer. Let me be clear. No elected official does it. We consult for elected officials. Technology moves way faster than the government. So you
Sure
have
does.
that. Then you have people of all sorts of occupations, creed, colors, maybe even some aliens that need be involved in the conversation so that we can make this AI for good.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier that you said the next 10 years is going to be more important than the previous 10 years.
Than the
And I,
previous 100.
oh,
That's how
okay,
fast we're
100
moving.
years. Wow. Well, so Kansas City, we actually are embarking on establishing a workforce development pipeline, really trying to ensure that our workforce is ready for the next 10 years. So, creating, looking at starting in from elementary school on up through higher education, and really talking with our employers, our key stakeholders, our work centers, trying to figure out how we can work collaboratively to create a strategic plan to ensure that our workforce moves forward in a manner that allows our economy to continue to grow and thrive here in Kansas City. And we're actually kicking that off tomorrow. So while in talking to you, I feel like we may be a little bit behind the eight ball here, but I'm glad and hopeful that we are getting this kicked off, and I think our discussion is really timely, as we will have six different committees that will be working to create these strategies for our city over the next 6 months, and I'm hopeful that maybe some of the things that I can gather from you tonight will be able to add to our conversation tomorrow.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I'm very adamant about, I'd love to work, under your leadership again, work with you in that is content creation, the creator economy. And again, whether it be, every city has its own respective problems. The low-hanging fruit for the hip hop generation to get them uh, focused, activated into something and moving in purpose is the creator economy. They are now a part of, everyone has a smartphone, everybody's on Instagram, TikTok. The latest rapper, the latest beauty expert, hottie, whatever, they're all trying to build their brand, right? And
Right.
in today's world, if I'm dealing with Chase Bank and Chase Bank, the craziest thing that Chase Bank employees are having to do is two things. Have you chose our online banking? Have you downloaded our app? Because they're being pushed and told to do that for you, the customer, walking into Wells Fargo, walking into Chase, walking into McDonald's, right? The kiosk and everything. And well, while that's happening, they're being a PR to their own extinction.
Mm,
They're being
wow.
a PR agent to their own extinction. Really, all they're only serving is people that's over 60
Yeah.
that still want the human experience. But if you're under 55, you better be with the times. You better be with the program. In my book, Death of a Job, I talk about the awkwards. The
Right.
awkwards are the ones that are not with the times. So we want to make sure, I think that what I would share with your workforce pipeline is the fact that for the youngsters that are out there, especially in the that are of the culture, enabling them with new opportunities that haven't been in the framework of a municipal government. That is, I want to be an influencer. I challenged the number one university in America off the bat, coming from the land of gangbanging. Uh, if you are a university, Arizona State, call yourself number one in innovation. This youngsters is no longer wanting that. They want to be an innovator, or I'm sorry, an influencer, and an influencer can make anywhere from 80 to $5 million plus. So why do I need your education? They decide, Mike, bring
Right.
that future of work program over here. So if I'm
Mm,
saying that at their school and what their bankroll is and doing that across the land, I share and say to you, the government having program and what's beautiful about the culture is I got the homie, the DLC, that's Dr. Dre's right-hand man. He's creating courses. Vinny from Naughty by Nature, he's
sure.
creating courses. Money B, he's creating courses. You got Megan the Stallion and some others that are now getting involved with this. Well, these type of content creations that's under our umbrella is what the streets need. because
Mm.
I want to now go ahead and create sustainable content and go from world star hip hop to a content in which I can actually monetize and now make money and feed my people, or first feed myself and feed my people. So that's having those type of plays in place works under this new workforce development content creation.
Okay. So, what sets us apart as humans is our intelligence. Can you talk about how AI will displace that?
Ah, the way you pose that question, how AI will displace that,
Yeah.
I'm torn right now currently because I just had a serious debate with someone at NVIDIA in regards to a lot of our human emotions are already imitated,
Mm.
mimicked.
Wow.
LLMs
Okay.
can now imitate you being mad, you being happy, the mechanics of you being happy, the mechanics of you being mad, those can already be, we can do that. The robot will now be able to do that. This holiday season, your local robot for $5,000, $25,000 can already do that. Right.
Wow.
So when you say the displacement, I think I go back to this word, the power and the ability to one, create, play. Play is a big word that humans have minimized, and we in the culture stop playing around, right? We've deminimalized that word. When play is the highest level of education,
Mm.
we got to get back to that. We got to get back to I create. I create. Because AI has now is doing all the thinking, it's taking away the critical thinking, it's creating on its own, and it's moving at an accelerated rate. That's why I call that singularity. That's why I said the next 10 years is more important than the last 100. If I
Yeah.
could say that, then you imagine what you have to do to stay relevant. And that's
Right.
why in our book, Death of a Job, we talk about, or I talk about rub, reskill, upskill to be skilled. If you're be skilled, then you're relevant. And that's what we want for Kansas City, how to remain relevant. The people
Right.
laid off at Ford, age 45 on up, what do they do now?
Yeah. That's a great
What
question.
what's your plan B in place before they rob?
Right.
Right? I'm from the land. This is LA. What happens when I don't have, the layoffs just happened right before the holiday season hasn't even kicked in. They was asking for money outside Target. Now they inside Target asking. So what is the plan B? That's what you want to start thinking of. What do we
Right.
do so that you can be empowered and have dignity? And we have to look at new occupations called human empathy, human intelligence, emotional intelligence.
So how do we, while there's AI is going to replace many jobs, there will be new jobs, you
Yes.
know, that will come because of AI. Can you talk about that and how do we upskill or reskill our people to be able to take those new jobs? Like what does that look like? And what are those new jobs first and then how do we adjust?
So remember, I started this conversation off with I'm a futurist. I'm trained at that, but you know what? You're a futurist too. Everybody's actually a futurist when they tap in. A father is a futurist. He knows his son, what you've been out there doing. Birds of a feather flock together. A mom knows the daughter and what she's doing and all those different things. You know what? The weatherman gives you this thing called the forecasting, right?
Right.
By forecasting, you know whether I need a rain jacket, umbrella, or what have you. We have to start thinking in our futurist mindsets. We have to start assembling with other people that are thinking the same way in order to survive. So this means find your tribe. So if
Mm.
Tyrone is over there eating fried chicken and just watching the sports game and ain't talking about nothing that's on a higher frequency, that's where he's at. He's one of the awkwards. He's one of the obsoletes. But if you
Right.
have somebody that's talking about, hey, I'm over here looking at cryptocurrency and now the future where Web3 is taking the system, then you want to form a tribe with that because everything is about the
Mhm.
redefinitions of systems, processes in place. That's why, let me say this just for everybody. You can learn a good example off of OnlyFans.
Mm.
That's right, OnlyFans. Making just as much money as Nvidia, Microsoft, and Google with only 43 employees. And it's a creator economy and allowing for their content creators to make their money one way or the other. It might be the oldest profession that's going now in the digital age, but that's a good example of why Microsoft, Google, Nvidia looked at, we got a outfit of 3,000 employees. How are they kicking butt with only 43, 49 employees? That's why Paramount Pictures, Amazon, UPS are now downsizing because really at the end of the day, all you need, Mayor Pro Temp, is you, your assistant, and the AI agent. Ooh, come on. Once you program your AI agent, and everything is governed by LLMs, large language models. From the moment you woke up, you knew when you did your groove at 6 a.m. to do your workout, to do your routine. I know where you'll be in 2027 at 3 o'clock,
Mm.
May 15th, because we live that routine right now. The
Good.
world is
Right.
governed by data. So, from a government level, from where you sit, by this conversation, we now want to empower our citizens of what this future look like. Each city needs to empower a futurist. Just as much as you have an IT, just as much as you should now have a chief AI officer, then you need somebody that can forecast the damn future.
Okay.
Because AI is only a component of that. So when I've talked to various people in your police department about, do you know robots are coming? I think you guys just got the drones now, or helic drones
We did. Yes. Yeah.
in
Yeah.
2025.
Yeah.
We got to speed that one up because that's
Hmm.
how we're going to be more. Everything is about efficiency. And the drones ultimately is going to take some jobs too. Hello.
Right. Right. And, I would say the way are using the drones will save some lives too, you know, because they're
Absolutely.
sending the drones in first. So,
And send the drones in first. And so what we want to now start looking at, from a city level, how are you employing those off of, is it um, Pleasant Avenue, big street out
prospect,
there? Prospect, yeah, Prospect.
prospect. Yes.
The youngsters on Prospect, how many of them have access to drones and learn how to work drones?
Right.
That's what
That's,
you should be under your leadership. I see it in your eyes that
yeah.
that's what you're going to start implementing because
Right.
all it takes, when I'm in Kansas City, everybody goes this direction because that's all they ever knew.
Hmm.
Got to roughen that up and go in other
And
directions,
go another way.
right? Got to
Yeah.
question everything. And that's what, under the current president, whether you like him or not, one thing that's evident is bold disruption.
That's
And every
true.
city has to embrace that. What is the
Mhm.
bold disruption that you're going to do under your watch, under your legacy that makes
That's
this world better?
That's awesome. I love it. Oh, so, one of the things I want to just go back to something you said, that AI is really doing a lot of the critical thinking. And my concern is, and I don't know how to be politically correct other than just to say what I'm thinking,
Go on, girl. Say what you're going to
the
say.
more that we rely on AI, I actually, I think I can say it better than what I was thinking. Will we be relying so much on AI that we are not using our own critical thinking skills? And how do we adjust there? Because if that's the case, then AI will replace all of us. What do we do with those individuals who, sit back and, don't adjust? And ultimately then become allow AI to just take over. How do we continue to move our communities, our people forward so our city can continue to thrive?
Right, that's a very good question. And the reason why that's a good question is because convenience brings us into the trap.
Mm. Right.
Convenience brings us into the trap. You and I grew up where I remember when my family got the microwave, it can cook the food in a lesser amount of time,
Yeah.
all under the name of convenience. I think the Bible even talked about 666 entry in. It's really done under convenience. So right now, I don't have to write the paper this way. It could have been plagiarism, could have been that, whatever, whatever. But now all of a sudden, it was done in the name of convenience. I can write a whole essay, a pitch deck. I could do all these things. I don't even have to think it. Hit a button. There it is.
Right.
Convenience, and it's done. So you get that. What I will say, on the other hand, is that it now opens up the neurons to a new complexity in thinking. So now, instead of me having to write this pitch deck, this business plan, my skill sets is in how I prompt the AI to do what I need it to do.
Mhm.
That's powerful. My skill set is in how I prompt it, right? There
Right.
go the creativity. But the notion of relying on it to give you all your answers, we're seeing it already happen. And
Sure.
so that's where we erode monkey business and focus in as we move to this era, as we try to move from scarcity to abundance. We're looking at having products that allow me to create and play.
Hmm.
Back to those two words, because everything else is just the routine, the routine. And so, yeah, we're refining what our critical thinking is. We're sparking new neurons in our bodies as we go forward. Here's a good example for you. Growing up, I played, my video games, and I remember parents saying, "Go outside and play." But then I was playing with my friends on the video games. That's on steroids now because now we got chat, we got everything else. Marlon, one of my friends, his daughter, he works over at Interscope Records. Shouts out Marlon, and his daughter, 13 years old, he takes her to a concert in New York. She wants to invite her friends. Dad, what friends do you have in New York you do not have not one
Right.
friend.
Right.
Didn't know that she's on social media. And now she's redefined what friendship looked like for her at her age. Different than how dad looked at it, different than how granddad looked at it.
Right.
Right. So we're changing and our neurons change. Remember, once upon a time, we used to use our tonsils,
Right.
your
Yeah.
wisdom too.
Yes.
They had a purpose. Right. So these things are happening right now.
Yeah. I definitely see that, and I can just when I look at, how things are different for me versus my kids, I can see the difference. And even my
Yeah.
granddaughter, I can see how things have changed over time and how they and only can dream about what it will look like, in the next, like you said, in the next 10 years or so, because it is moving very quickly. So can we talk about how, obviously how our cities grow is economics, is now how do we utilize AI? If we're talking about displacing jobs and workers from what they are today, how do we move forward in a manner that allows us to continue to, be able to create dollars for our families, for ourselves? What can, first, so two-part question. One is what can a government do? What can we do to ensure that we are moving our people forward so that they can, you know, evolve into this new AI age and create um, the dollars that they need, the funds that they need to move their families forward. Because when we first started talking, you talked about how AI is not, uh, oh, I forgot what you said now. You were talking about how if we're talking about financial, this was before I think we turned the
Right.
camera off,
Uh-huh.
but in that discussion,
Financial literacy
financial
replaced with
literacy,
AI literacy.
yeah, AI literacy, how do we move our people forward so that they can capitalize on this and and continue to move forward, because without those dollars our cities fail. you know
Absolutely.
we need those revenues.
Right. So two things that I said before I repeated here, education and programs. Education and program. People have to be made aware there is no safe spot in America. So whether you're on New York, Silicon Valley, Miami, LA, Kansas is just as a hot spot as those cities and will be vulnerable. Remember there, near, and here. You sit right there in the middle. So yeah, you're definitely going to feel the heat. So we have to have education. We have to create awareness as to what is AI? How does it work with the basic AI 101? Then what are the programs that I could get involved in? When I talk about reskill, upskill, and B-skill, this is what government has to be proactive of. And then the third thing is, what is our mental wellness components? What do we
Mhm.
have? What are our outlets to help those who are displaced with job? Because more jobs are going to be let go of. So, what does the city put in place in terms of mental health, mental
Mhm.
wellness? but the programs, such as I've mentioned before, for the youngsters, everybody wants to be an influencer in today's world. So then the city must answer by putting a stamp on the creator economy. That all falls in AI. I could be an AI generated content producer for my business, for my film, for my music, whatever it is, creativity that's sustainable and you can monetize. You want to have that in place. I may not want to be in the content space. I want to learn how I could be, what are the new jobs to come? And I think that's where you're something that you said in your question, being an AI prompter. How do I work AI? An AI consultant. How do I leverage AI to consult my business, whether it be the church? I'm making fried chicken. The next person is a shoe repairman. The next person is a beauty supply. AI and what are the mechanics necessary to run a business? Those things is what the government would want to have in place to say, you don't need XYZ dollars to start up a business anymore. You and your agentic AI could do it. Oh shit, I need to have an education on agentic AI because that's already reducing a lot of the bigger companies. So on a municipal level, you want to integrate that because that's also taking your jobs,
Right.
right?
Okay.
Let's be clear. The new metamorphosis that's going to be happening after Elon Musk has left.
Yeah.
New phrase, new word.
All right.
After he left is the fact that those jobs that were pretty much routines, agentic AI is going to take over those and do those pretty well, right?
Okay.
So
All
you
right.
got the big picture view to now say here, Mike just gave me a couple nuggets in terms of mental wellness. We got to have that in place. The content, the creator economy, we see that that's a billions plus entity. Kansas City is home to jazz. We want Kansas City hip hop or jazz 2.0, jazz 3.0. Where are those content creators going? Where's that hub? That's
Right.
just, my next visit, perhaps working with you, we need to unearth that, right? When I got a chance to see the history of 18th and Vine, well, Harlem need to know that. MacArthur Boulevard, every boulevard need to know that. And we need to connect those dots. Kansas
Wonderful.
story got a story just like Oakland, just like Miami. So they got to get their place on the map. That's a big movement. If there's $648 million coming for FIFA, there's $1 billion just on content creation. What?
All
Especially on the black
right.
hand side. Talk to me, I'll talk right back.
Okay. I love it. Yeah. So actually you I feel like I need to be sitting here taking notes. If we weren't recording this, I would be feverishly writing here. So you were definitely educating me on this, and I appreciate you really. Actually, it works out good. I think that you've already been to Kansas City. You know a lot of our historic places. You
Yes.
know what Kansas City is about, and so just being able to engage with you now since you've had your visit, I think actually works out well for me,
Wonderful.
um, because you're able to really provide insight that maybe you weren't able to prior to your
Oh,
visit,
absolutely.
for
Absolutely.
sure.
Rich history. I'm just blown away. I'm gonna give KC, hold on, first, just for this. I got checked real quick every time. Don't say Kansas.
Uh-huh. Right,
I
right.
got from LA before the plane landed. Don't be saying
Don't
Kansas. You
say
better put some
Kansas.
city on that.
Right.
So I learned that. Then just seeing the history, the I don't know how I work with Michelin Ness, the clothing line out of New York years ago, and so I remember when they had the historic the Negro League baseball league jerseys. I had access to all of that, and I remember the KC Monarchs. I love their jerseys, so I had those, gave it out to everybody. I actually get to go to Kansas City and see the history, see the museum. That blew me away. That was like, so we gotta, there's so much, again, that's your Apollo Theater,
Right. Yeah.
right? That has to be preserved. The
Yes.
redistricting, we got to do something. We got to make sure that the history that I got to see I got a chance to go to one of the church. All the churches around the country smell the same. Hello.
Uh-huh.
They all smell
Okay.
the same.
You know what? You made me think of something else though. I was trying to think of all the industries that will be impacted by AI, but I
Hmm.
don't I don't see how the arts can be. How,
Oh, it
you talked
is.
about a museum, the arts. I mean, in terms of, that's people, experience that. And so if at all, how do you see AI impacting the arts?
So already, I'll be able to email you some songs that are AI generated
Oh,
with soul.
I didn't even
You
think
would have
about
thought,
that.
like,
Yeah.
what?
Okay.
Some
Right.
singers that can sing just as good as James Brown.
Okay.
James Brown with the soul, with the funk. You line up the best artists. So this again is where the world that we live in. We are in a data-driven world. I say this around the country, and you want to remember. Data is the tangible version of your soul.
Mm, okay.
So, Mayor Pro Temp, you woke up at whatever time you woke up. You and your walk know what time you typically wake up, what time you typically go to bed. And that is associated with a clock and a time. What you do in between that, you know your routine. When you self-reflect at the end of the day, you look at what you did today versus yesterday. It's all data. That's why I said to you, I know where
Mhm.
you will be 2027 at 3 o'clock on this month. Why? Because every day you wake up, even when you're on a vacation, you're doing a pattern. And that's what life tends to be. That's why I say
Yeah.
AI has us, we're conveniently falling in a trap.
Yeah.
Our routines. Businesses are operating on a process. A
Right.
process is governed by a routine. A routine is governed by a system. There goes the matrix. Yeet.
So I laugh because right now I am on in my office on the 22nd floor, and in
22nd floor. There goes
on the
data.
22nd floor in 2027 at this time, if the voters say I'll be on the 29th floor at
I
this
know
time
that's
in
right.
2020. That's why I
That's
started
right.
laughing.
There you go. Speak it into existence, young
All
lady.
right.
Speak that into
Wonderful.
existence. But clearly you caught that. I like that.
I
And
did.
it's
I
funny
did.
when I'm at
I
the
did.
Congressional Black Caucus, I have a lot of them. I said this before. Mike, I love the technology. Hey, show me how to get a vote.
Oh,
How do I get
I'm
that vote
telling you,
open?
that's for, for elected officials. Yeah, I mean, that's as we are running, trying to, until we get replaced, I guess that's what we'll
Right.
be doing. Yeah, trying to
Right.
figure
And
that
and
out.
and let's add into what you said, the prior question about the arts, whether it be music. Recently in Hollywood, we have AI generated actors. We have AI rappers. Capitol Record got major heat on an AI rapper because who's that? Whose job is that taken away from? You already know. And there's a long-term plan with that. That's why everything, it's so crazy. Government could do this. China could do this. Every day Mayor Pro Tem comes into office, we see her routine. Hell, she's a LLM.
Mm,
Now we don't need you anymore. Remember, I said data is a tangible version of the soul. So now all we do is just study your routine. We don't need you anymore. And this is where it gets crazy because the devil, what is he after? Souls.
souls.
AI is just after data.
Right. Right.
There you go.
Wow. So, um, in terms of back to, just overall the jobs being, we talked about jobs being displaced. Can you talk more about what jobs will be created? So you said if we finding educating those or finding those who can learn AI and be able to manipulate the systems that way. So what can we dig a little bit deeper about what do those jobs look like? So for example, if I was someone who was working on the line, because we have a big forward plan in this region. So if I was a person who was working on the line and we're trying to transition them because their jobs have been replaced by robots, what other jobs would be available for them, and how can we start skilling them, reskilling them for new positions?
Um, you want to see the future? Watch sci-fi movies, watch children's cartoons. World Economic Forum already told you that 60% of the jobs by 2030 haven't even been created.
Okay.
Right? So that question is one that you have to see tomorrow, be prepared, put on your future hat. I know brothers that was hustling, slanging whatever, a dime bag of this, a dime bag of that, and then upgraded to you can cash at me. There goes some innovation.
Mm,
Then you know what? AI, one of the things that I would say, here's looking for opportunities. So with all the AI developments, where do you go to where's the store to that?
Yeah.
There's a job right there. I just
Right.
leaked it out. What I just said to you is that when you want a mobile app for your iPhone, where do you go?
To the
The
App
the
Store.
App Store.
Yeah.
Same thing if you're on an Android, you go to the App Store. But when you have an AI, where do you go?
Okay. Yeah.
There go a
So,
job right there.
a job right there. So I see that I think we're running to the end of our time.
Hmm.
I've asked a bunch of questions, but I'm sure there's a lot more that we could talk about. If you could sum up the priorities, say the top three things that you think people need to be considering, what would that be?
One, get the book Death of a Job available now on Amazon and Barnes& and Noble. This is a plug brought to you by Prime Energy Drink. Yee!
Oh,
And
okay.
you want to remember these three words: reskill, upskill to be skilled. That's it. Reskill, upskill to be skilled. Kansas City. So if you just got laid off by Ford, why did you get laid off? Why did you get laid off? What was your position? And now I need to know what I need to do next. That's the reskilling. The upskilling is to say, you know what? I did this for 15 years, following the footsteps of my daddy, my grandpappy, and all that good stuff. I want to do something else. You know what? I actually love farming. I actually love making some barbecue. I actually love doing something else. All right, you know what? I'm going to use the power of Pi, ChatGPT, and all the other AI services because Google search is dead. And now put together a business plan as to what I need to do as a part of my upskilling. What do I need to do? Point me to the directions of what I need to do to upskill. Therefore, I can be skilled. Come on now, church, say amen.
Amen. All
There it
right.
is.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, so if you would say one more time where they can get the book, and I want to make sure we try to, add that into the graphic there.
Oh, absolutely. Deathofthejob.com. And it's at deathofthejob.com. You'll see the six seismic shifts that are impacting the workforce today as we know it. You know what? I'm going to say two things. The people formerly known as workers meet the people formerly known as customers.
Mhm.
It's a brave new world right now. The people formerly known as workers meet the people formerly known as customers. What does that look like? Kansas City got to play its role in shaping that. That's a Be Skilled movement led by you. Yee!
All right. I love it. Well, futurist Mike Johns, thank you so much for educating me. Thank you for your time today. And I look forward to future discussions with you and the next time you visit us here in Kansas City.
Absolutely, always. And thank you so much for having me. I look forward to talking with you further and seeing how we can initiate Be Skilled Kansas City.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me.